Hello, friends. My name is Rohit Bapat. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Uh, Today's raining a lot in Pune, in my city. It's rainy, it's dark, it's cloudy, and it's damp. Perfect time for Sherlock Holmes to sit in his favorite chair in 221B Baker Street to lit a pipe and think about a very commonplace incidents which might be commonplace for some people but can hold the key to solve a mystery. Now, why I'm saying this? For those who don't know, on this day, on 14th of October 1892, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle published the book of Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, which is collection of 12 Sherlock Holmes stories. I was just going through the his all sorts of thoughts started coming to my head, and I thought I will share with you some of my thoughts. Being a writer, uh, the character of Sherlock Holmes, then Dr. Watson, Moriarty, and lots of others, Colonel Moran, many of those. I can't name them all. Uh, to create those characters and to create such stories, to have such relation of logic and the rationality with something that does not seem logical or rational in first place, but as soon as Sherlock Holmes starts explaining, it becomes pretty obvious. That is the strength of a writer, and of course, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is one of the finest storytellers that I've ever come across. Uh, Not being a native English speaker, I came to know about Sherlock Holmes a bit late in my life, around when I was around 20 years old. But I was fortunate that I did not read any of the translations because translations sometimes do not capture all the emotions and the sentiments or the environment that only can be expressed in that particular language, and it's true for all the languages. But Sherlock Holmes is one character that just stuck in my mind. There are three characters I love the most. I mean, according to me, these are the three best characters anyone can have in his story. First one is, of course, Lord Krishna. He is not just a character, of course, he is more than character. But if you just take Mahabharata as a story, Mahabharata is a very intriguing story. Lord Krishna is comes across like one of the super fantastic and always right kind of character, almost like a lighthouse you can look up to all the time. Then the next favorite character is Chanakya. Of course, if you read books about Chanakya, you will understand. And the third one is Sherlock Holmes. Now, for a long time, I believed Sherlock Holmes was not a fictional character. Sherlock Holmes actually existed in somewhere in England, somewhere in London. That's what I believed, till I came to know later on that it's a fictional character. But this is the strength of the writer, and this is the best part of being a creative writer like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. That even if the character is fictional, even if there was no one who was Sherlock Holmes who lived in London during the Victorian times, yet we all believe that Sherlock Holmes was real. This is the greatness of the writer. I'll be honest, I've read complete Sherlock Holmes around 7 times, and not just as admirer, not just as a reader, but I tried to study the character as well, and many of my thinking, many of my reasonings, I find them mirrored in Sherlock Holmes. Many of the stories are still fascinating, are still amazing, and I am always surprised, like how those stories came in Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's head. Like, how did he think about those? How does that happen? But of course, I know the answer, that there is no answer for this, and I'll leave it there. But this is the history of the day. This is the history of the day uh, when the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes was published. Um, I'll tell you a few stories about Sherlock Holmes that I have read about, that I know. Uh, One of the stories that, after writing many stories in the magazine, I forgot the name, but in a magazine he used to write all those stories of Sherlock Holmes. He got bored of it. He, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle thought of stopping writing the stories about Sherlock Holmes. But do you know, the readers liked these stories so much that they filed a protest against the magazine and against the writer, like, why you're stopping all of a sudden writing stories about Sherlock Holmes. This was the love, this was the admiration of people that every writer, every creator, thinker wishes for. This is why creative people live for. That is the admiration and love from the viewers or the readers or fans. That's why everyone is doing what they're doing. So this was one story, and all the memories started coming to my head after reading this about today's history. Every now and then, I think about Sherlock Holmes, and there is just one face that comes into my head whenever somebody says Sherlock Holmes. The one person that whose face comes right in front of me all the time is Jeremy Brett. Jeremy Brett, according to me, was one of the finest actors. Now, being a student of Sherlock Holmes and his characters of Sherlock Holmes, thinking about his psyche, thinking about the philosophy of Sherlock Holmes, how we must have behaved. And when you start reading and understanding the characters, you start building the images into your head. I'll give you a good analogy of that. Nowadays, especially the people who have watched Mahabharata, uh, produced by B.R. Chopra, whenever you say Krishna, the face of Nitish Bharadwaj comes to your mind, right? The same thing happens with me when somebody says Sherlock Holmes. Immediately I get Jeremy Brett in front of my eyes. And one thing that happened with Jeremy Brett that always bothered me, and I, being an actor myself, being a theater person myself, sometimes I wonder, was it worth it? Was it not worth it? I don't know. But if you ask people say that Jeremy Brett was the best Sherlock Holmes ever. The character of Sherlock Holmes is so dark, so gloomy and depressive at times. Not pessimistic, mind you. It's not pessimist. It's depressing at times. And Sherlock Holmes himself sometimes says, like, I'm more criminal at times than the criminal himself. But you have to be the character. If you want to look like character, you want to behave like the character, you have to really understand and that is the side effect of being a method actor, where you Brett took it to the extreme and somewhere the character of Sherlock Holmes resonated with the character of Jeremy Brett as well, his personality. And unfortunately, while Jeremy Brett played the role of Sherlock Holmes to the finest level, Jeremy himself became Sherlock Holmes. That's what people say. People who were around him, like, he was Sherlock Holmes. He was more Sherlock Holmes than Jeremy Brett, and that caused psychological problems to Jeremy Brett, and ultimately, that that cost Jeremy Brett his life. That's what a lot of people claim, that Sherlock Holmes really killed Jeremy Brett. This is just a metaphor, of course, but that is a dedication. That is a level of dedication, and there is one particular scene I want everyone to watch whenever you get a chance. In the story of Six Napoleons, when the whole mystery is solved, when the thief is found and everything is done, Sherlock Holmes, invites Inspector Lestrade, then Dr. Watson at his home, and smashes the bust of Napoleon Bonaparte. And inside that bust, there is this black pearl. And after doing all that scene, Inspector Lestrade tries to shake hand of Sherlock Holmes just as a gesture of gratitude. Just watch the face of Sherlock Holmes, or Jeremy Brett, in that series produced by Granada TV. Okay, it's not any movie or something. The series is produced by Granada TV, played by Jeremy Brett. Please do watch this scene. There is a close up scene, and there are two times when Sherlock Holmes in that scene says thank you. Watch the expressions on his face. That was the moment when I was watching the series. That was the moment that that announced in my head, that confirmed for me that this is the best Sherlock Holmes that I'm watching. No one can do it better. Because while reading, like I said, while studying the character, I had an impression in my mind, like how Sherlock Holmes would look like, what he would do, how he will have gestures, how will he talk, how will he have expressions on his face, how will he greet someone, what will he do, how will he stand, how will he look like. And that was the moment, that particular scene when Sherlock Holmes says thank you twice to Dr. Inspector Lestrade. Please do watch and you'll understand what I'm trying to say. So this was my part of my random thoughts. Just wanted to remember these wonderful artists, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Jeremy Brett. God bless them wherever they are. And you can understand that it's been years and decades since Sir Arthur Conan Doyle had passed away, but still we are talking about Sherlock Holmes. So just think about it, and think about the effort, think about the grace of God that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle had for him. And Jeremy Brett, I don't know what to say about Jeremy Brett. I can have a full series about Jeremy Brett with video clippings and with expressions and his reactions on the camera. Just amazing. I can go on for Jeremy Brett, but just wanted to have a short small memory of Jeremy Brett. And we all should be thankful to him that even if he suffered due to this role, allegedly, he gave us something to watch over and over again. He gave us something to study over and over again, and he defined Sherlock Holmes for us. I'm, I feel, I feel sad the way he left us, left this world. But that's life. That's life. There is always a cost to be the best in the business. There is always a cost to be Sherlock Holmes. You don't have friends. You don't have family. You have nothing. You have no emotions. Similarly, if you are the best in the business of, in acting, your character is all you have. In my view, that's what happened with Jeremy Brett. So this was my random thoughts. That's nothing more than that. I hope I hope you all uh, will watch the Sherlock Holmes produced by Grandara TV. Sherlock Holmes played by Jeremy Brett, and you'll understand what I'm saying. Thank you, Puru. Thank you for listening. I wasn't sure if anyone will really would like to listen to this story, because usually I make videos in Marathi, and I did not know how much Sherlock Holmes will be appreciated. But thank you, Puru. Thank you for joining, and thank you for the comment. There are many things. There are many things about Jeremy Brett. Uh, I just wish that someday I will understand how Jeremy Brett became Sherlock Holmes, how he did that. Like I said, there is a cost to pay, but I would like to try it. I would like to give it a shot. Obviously, it's a challenge, but there is always this connection with Sherlock Holmes. I don't know why. I always felt some connection with Sherlock Holmes. I just I just love the character. That's it. There's nothing more I can say. I just love the way Sherlock Holmes is. Just fantastic. Just fantastic. And today, I wasn't expecting so much rain, and it's just raining, pouring down like crazy. But it's dark, like I said. And I would imagine somewhere in the heaven, Jeremy Brett must be sitting in the chair with with a pipe in his hand and thinking about something. I cannot take that image out of my head. Of course, there are many actors. There is Cumberbatch, but Jeremy Brett is Jeremy Brett. No one can replace him. So that was my random thought of the day, and kind of a history lesson for all my subscribers. Thank you for joining in, Puru. Thank you for joining in live, and just have a good night. Take care of yourself. Maybe tomorrow we'll meet again in a live video, mostly in Marathi, but if not, I will make a video in English too. So take care of yourself, stay safe, and be happy. And do watch Sherlock Holmes by Grandara TV, okay? Only then you will understand what I'm trying to say. And do read Sherlock Holmes as well. And do not read any translation. Read the actual text in English. Even if you need dictionary, fantastic. Because even Sherlock Holmes was surprised when Dr. Watson used the word grotesque. So don't worry about it. Alrighty. Good night, guys. Take care. See you tomorrow with some other topic. Thank you very much.